Splatoon 2's support is pretty much over now, and that means it's time to look ahead to Splatoon 3. Is it going to come out soon as a replacement, like a lot of online multiplayer-focused games do, or is Nintendo going to ride out Splatoon 2 for the rest of the Switch's life? I don't really know, and to be honest, it probably doesn't affect me anyway, and that's because I don't have Nintendo Switch Online, and the Splatoon games are very focused on online multiplayer at the expense of local multiplayer. And no, Balloon Dojo and using 8 Switches with 8 copies of Splatoon 2 doesn't count. If you are going to be playing online for whatever reason, Splatoon and Splatoon 2 are pretty useless once you beat the fun but short story mode. And that's a shame, because I think Splatoon is one of the most fun and best designed shooting games. And you know, I can't afford $20 a year, that's a lot of money. What? It is! And I think there are several major reasons why when Splatoon 3 comes out, it should have local multiplayer in it. Hello all 2,420 of you, I'm Redkwan, and this is why Splatoon 3 needs local multiplayer. Now, the first reason is pretty obvious. It just makes for a better experience. Splatoon 2 is a lot of fun, but you can only play it if you have the online service and are somewhere with a good internet connection. Of course, a lot of people do have the online service, but it's far from everybody who owns a Switch, especially when you factor in the fact that Nintendo systems generally have a lot of younger players who are less likely to have online memberships. So a lot of players are missing out on the biggest part of the Splatoon experience, and I think it's pretty safe to say that Splatoon 2 could have had better sales if it wasn't so focused on that online aspect, and if it had an offline mode like this to offer. And also, it means a lot of times you aren't able to play the game on the go because you aren't around a good source of internet. Now obviously, once we're all running on T-Mobile's nationwide sparkling fast 5G network, this won't be a problem, but for now it is a little limiting. And by having a local mode that acts similarly to the current online modes, you not only allow people in these situations to play the game and have a lot of fun with it offline, but you also allow even the people who are in these situations to play locally, which is a lot of fun too. Even if you have the ability to play online, a lot of times it's just more fun to play against people in the same room. And if you can't play online ever, well then local multiplayer is always more fun, by default. Just having the ability to play the normal game instead of a stupid balloon popping one, and without needing 8 Switches and 8 copies of the game by yourself or with a few others would be pretty amazing. And it would add a lot to the game, even if you play mostly online. And additionally, it would help the game to stick around a lot longer. The Splatoon games are a lot of fun, but once their online functionality is over, they're going to be shells of their former selves. The Wii U's internet isn't going to last too much longer, I can't imagine, and when it goes, you'd have no idea what the game was like back when it had internet. Splatoon? Oh yeah, that's the game where you pop all those balloons, right? I'm sorry I keep making fun of Balloon Dojo, but I have no idea what they were thinking making that. Splatoon 2 will probably last for a little while, but eventually it's going to lose support too. It's inevitable that the main modes of these games will eventually become unplayable, and 1, that means the games aren't going to be as good of a value, and 2, it's just kind of a bummer. I'm sure there always will be new Splatoon games you can play, but they aren't going to have the same maps, and they probably won't have all the same modes. They'll play differently, even if only a little, and they'll have different weapons and balancing, and it'll just be a different experience. And there's nothing wrong with getting that new stuff, except that it means that it's almost a guarantee that a mode or map or something you really like is going to become unplayable forever at some point, and that's stupid. Having an offline, local multiplayer mode would mean that you could still play on Museum de Alfonsino whenever you cronk it felt like it, and that's my case for Splatoon 3 having local multiplayer. I think it's important for keeping the game alive, and I think it'd be amazing to have this mode as an option, because local multiplayer is pretty cool. But I understand there are a few things that might get in the way. Now, these are legitimate concerns, but I don't care. I need local multiplayer in Splatoon 3, so I'm just gonna swat them down. Concern 1 is that it'd be too tough to put in. I won't try to say that this is super easy to do, but just about every shooting game out there has bots, and it doesn't seem like it'd be that big of an issue. Yes, Splatoon has more verticality and the ink mechanics, but I don't think either of those is a reasonable excuse for any company as big as Nintendo. People have brought up retooling the Octolings that are already in the game, and while that might not work, I think the fact that the Octolings are in the game at all means that it's pretty doable. Concern 2 is that it'd be hard for the Switch to run, or maybe that it wouldn't run well with like 4-player split screen. Although again, most other shooters can do it just fine. Maybe there really is some difficulty here with the ink or whatever, but with the cartoony art style and relatively small maps, I don't think it's a stretch to think it could happen. I'm even okay with small maps and 2-on-2 instead of 4-on-4. I'm pretty sure they could make something work, and I think with the extra sales and longevity and future sales potential, it's worth doing. But Concern 3 is probably the biggest concern, and that's the impact it has on the online side of things. I don't think the number of online players overall would really suffer, but there's definitely the chance that some players wouldn't buy the online service, because they could achieve the same thing locally. I don't think that's a huge percentage of people because the online aspect is still the biggest draw of the game, and there are plenty of other games like Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart that people might want to have the online service for. But there could still be a bit of a loss there. Is that extra effort and risk of losing online service subscriptions worth the growth of sales and goodwill that adding this feature to Splatoon 3 will give Nintendo and the long-term benefits for the series? I'm gonna say yes. Maybe I just want to say yes, but I'm saying yes. And also, if everyone bails on the online service, maybe Nintendo would actually improve it or get rid of it. That's not really a good argument for Nintendo, but I like it. Well, I'm Redkwan. Do you think Splatoon 3 should get local multiplayer? Do you think we're getting Splatoon 3 soon, or is it gonna have to wait till the next Nintendo console? I didn't partake in it because of my lack of $20 a year, of course, but I will say that I'm glad ketchup beat those loser mayonnaise lovers because of the pro clout of ketchup. Is that an actual term they use in Splatfest? Pro clout? Ketchup, now that's a condiment with some pro clout. Mayonnaise, that has a normal amount of clout, but ketchup's clout, now that's on another level. I'm sorry, I just thought it was pretty funny. Anyways, I'm Redkwan, thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all later. Goodbye.